Today, we'll take a closer look at these present boxes from Toad Houses in Super Mario 3D World. We do some experiments with them, and you might be surprised to learn how they actually work. When you enter a Toad House, you're given a choice between opening a small present box or opening a large present box, and you can only choose one of them. If you're lucky, you'll get a Super Bell, 2 mushrooms, and a Fire Flower, and if you're unlucky, you'll get just 1 mushroom. You might think that this looks like a 50-50 chance, because you're given a choice between 2 boxes to win one of 2 prizes. But it gets a lot stranger than that. I opened the small present box 30 times, and I got the good reward 23 out of 30 times. That means I got the good reward almost 77% of the time, which isn't very close to the 50-50 that you might have been expecting. I tried filling up the room with only small boxes, opening them all, and counting how many times we got the good reward and how many times we got the bad reward. I opened up a few hundred small boxes, and I got a similar result. About 75% of the time, you get the good result if you pick the small box. So you might be thinking, oh, so the small box is more lucky than the big box. And since the small box is good most of the time, that means that the big box should have the bad reward most of the time, right? Well, I tried opening up the big box 30 times, and I also got the good result 23 out of 30 times. Just like what happened when I was opening only small boxes. So I tried filling up the room with only big boxes and opening them all up, and just like before, this time when I open up hundreds of big boxes, there's about a 75% chance of getting the good reward if you open up the big boxes. So it looks like the box that you choose might not really matter. Whether you choose the big box or the small box, you have about a 75% chance of getting the good reward. This choice that you're being shown, where you have to choose between the big present and the small present, it might make you feel like you're making a 50-50 decision, but you have about a 75% chance of success, regardless of which box you choose. When I first played this game, I was expecting that it's either a 50% chance that you guess right, or maybe sometimes the small box has better odds, and maybe sometimes the big box has better odds. So I was really surprised at these results, and I wanted to look more into it. You might be wondering, what would happen if you could open both of the boxes? Will one always give a good reward and the other always give a bad reward, or are they really independent events? I modded the game so that you could open both boxes, and here's what I saw. First, it is possible to get the good reward from both boxes, and this is actually the most likely outcome. There's very roughly a slightly over 50% chance of getting the good reward from both boxes. So most of the time, both of the present boxes actually have the good reward inside them. It's also possible that you get a good reward from opening the small box and a bad reward from opening the big box. And the opposite of that is also true. You can get a bad reward from opening the small box and a good reward from opening the big box. Both of these last two outcomes have the same probability, and it's very roughly about 20%. And finally, you can get a bad reward from both boxes, which is actually the rarest outcome because there's such a high chance that at least one of the boxes will give you the good reward. This Toad House minigame seems like something that's designed to make the player of the game feel lucky. Very often, you can get the good reward no matter which box you choose, and you think, haha, I picked the right box! Even though the box choice doesn't really matter, as we've seen. So when I was trying to get a clip of both boxes giving you just a mushroom for this video, I had to do a lot of resetting here to finally have an outcome where both boxes gave only mushrooms. But yes, it is possible to get just mushrooms from both boxes if you open both of the boxes. It was a huge relief to finally get 2 consecutive boxes that both gave just a mushroom. And something interesting worth pointing out is that if you spawn too many power-ups in this room here, when you get the good reward that normally spawns 1 Super Bell, 2 mushrooms, and 1 Fire Flower, everything spawns as normal, except you'll notice that only 1 mushroom is popping out instead of 2 mushrooms because there are too many power-ups in the level now. Now that you know that both the small present box and the large present box have around the same chance of a good reward, it might come as no surprise that both of these presents are actually the same kind of object, but they're just using a different model. The smaller present is called Block Choice, and the larger present is called Block Choice Big. You might be wondering how these present boxes work from the game's perspective. There's an object called a BlockChoiceWatcher that is linked to each of these presents, and it makes it so that once you choose one of the presents, the other present disappears. This is similar to the object called an AllDeadWatcher, which can keep track of if all of the enemies that are linked to it are dead. You can set up an AllDeadWatcher so that a certain object is spawned when you defeat all of the enemies that are linked to it. And this is what's done in certain parts of the game Super Mario 3D World, like in World 1-2, where you have to defeat some Koopa Troopas to get a green star. The way that we were able to open both presents earlier in this video was to link each present to their own BlockChoiceWatcher, and you can also do the opposite of that. You can link multiple presents to one BlockChoiceWatcher, and then you can create a scenario where you have a choice between many different blocks, and they all disappear if you open one of the presents. You might also be wondering if these present blocks can work fine in normal levels that aren't Toad houses, and yes. You can have these present blocks function normally in a regular level in Super Mario 3D World. You can add some present choice boxes just like before. You can create choices between custom-sized presents if you'd like to do that. You could stretch out the present boxes into weird shapes and sizes like we've done in a lot of past videos where we've stretched out a lot of characters into weird shapes and sizes. And you could also leave individual presents throughout a level that you could use. You might be wondering if these present boxes work in Bowser's Fury, and I've created some mods in Bowser's Fury that use these present boxes, so you can see that they work fine in the game Bowser's Fury as well. You can have normal-sized present boxes, large-sized present boxes, and very large present boxes. You can even have a flat, spinning present out in the goop that you can't reach. And I really love how this one is spinning, it makes it look very interesting. If you stand here in Bowser's Fury and you put a large present box to float in the distance here at the start of Bowser's Fury, it looks really out of place. It's like if Bowser's Fury had DLC where you had to purchase power-ups with your credit card, and gift boxes like this would just appear in the world. You want a catsuit power-up? That's gonna be about $3.50. I wanted to get up onto this present, so luckily one of the nearby presents did have a catsuit power-up, and then I was able to use the catsuit power-up to just barely climb up onto the top of the present. And from the top of the present, you can see a very tall, very skinny present in the distance. It might not look like a present box, but this is what a stretched out vertically present box looks like. The big presents look like they spin very fast, and this one here is also clipping through part of the ship. It's also interesting to see where you get pushed if you stand close to it and it tries to push you into one of the Bowser spikes. If you're really evil and you want to create a level that is luck dependent to beat, you could add a present box somewhere in a level where you need to get the catsuit power up and the fire flower to continue through the level. I think it's a pretty cool mechanic to add into a custom level mod, and the element of luck when making a choice between boxes can be funny, especially if someone thinks that it's a 50-50 choice and they're making either the right choice or the wrong choice. I think it's really interesting to learn about how things like this work in games. Something that looks like a 50-50 chance is actually two independent events where the chance of success is about 75% in each case. If you're interested in learning more about how games work or what is possible in games, you might enjoy something like my video where we test what happens if you add power-ups, items, and enemies to the world map. It's a lot of fun to test out things that aren't normally possible in games so that you can see what happens, and that's a big part of what my channel is about. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting my content creation, and a big thank you to you for watching this video. Hoping that you all have a fantastic day ahead of you, and take care everybody.